Hello, hello, Trauma Freedom Tribe. Welcome, welcome, everyone. Today I have an amazing person, Kamesha Tarell. She came here to talk to us today. She is a self-discovery and relationship coach. She is actually what I called her this morning, a trauma warrior. She works on the front lines, helping people who are going through trauma. She has an amazing wealth of experience as well as personal knowledge of trauma that she's been through and that she's worked through herself. And she is just an incredible person. I'm so excited to introduce her to the Trauma Freedom Tribe. Hello, Kamesha.
Hello.
Welcome today. Thank you for coming and talking to us.
Thank you for inviting me. It's truly my
Absolutely.
pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure. It's our pleasure to have you. So you mentioned to me that you work with people who feeling a little bit lost with themselves. You want to take just a moment to introduce what you do and what kind of people you work with?
Sure. So I'm a relationship and self-discovery coach, as you already said, right? And that kind of comes from the belief that our most important relationship is the one we have with ourselves. So a lot of times when we're experiencing trauma and experiencing life events, we start on the outside, right? Like we want to start fixing our relationship with our partner, and I want to fix my relationship with my mom or my dad or my kids. And oftentimes those relationships are a direct reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves.
Yeah.
And so what kind of started me in this work was I woke up one day and I looked in the mirror and I realized I didn't recognize the woman who was looking back at me. I had felt totally like I lost myself.
Mm.
At that time, I was married. I had been married then probably about 15 years. Um, I ended up finally dissolving that marriage after 20. I left after 18, but it was about because I spent some time trying to see if it could work. But I was married. I had 3 teenage boys. I was in career. I've always worked in like human services field. So I was in human services and I just was pouring so much of myself into everyone else. And I had became who everyone else needed me to be. I had a mother who was in addiction, and then had got diagnosed with cancer. My father, who has been disabled pretty much my whole life, while also struggling with his own addiction. There was abuse that took place in my past. And so I had just turned into this people pleasing machine.
Yeah.
And little by little, and I don't even remember all of the decisions. I just remember waking up, realizing I'm not happy. I don't know who I am. I didn't know where my husband ended and where I began. Like we were so enmeshed.
Mm.
Um, and so I just began the journey of learning who I am. Like I was that woman where it's like, what do you want to eat for dinner? I don't know. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Right.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Because I
Yes.
was lost. And it started from exactly that marriage. I wanted to fix my marriage and how can we make this better and how can we make that better? But what was suffering was my relationship with myself. And I began the journey. I had went to a church because I thought I would find answers there. Ended up getting involved in a ministry where I was what I called spiritually abused.
Oh,
Um, and it was hard to recognize because abuse had became so comfortable for me, experiencing it as a child, having relationship patterns and all in that. And so I went on a journey of healing, and little by little, I began to know who I was. I began to love who I was. A big part of it started with recognizing who I wasn't. That was the first part. Who am I not? What doesn't feel good? What
mhm.
doesn't sit well in my body? I had to start getting reconnected to my body. And
Yeah.
so that's a big part of the work I do now is working with men and women who feel like they have lost themselves, feel like they want to connect with themselves again and have a better relationship with themselves and also their partners. So I do some couples coaching, I do individual coaching. I am also a licensed minister, so I perform wedding ceremonies. And do some pre and post-marital coaching. So just things about strengthening relationships.
Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Amazing. Thank you for sharing your story.
You're
Wow.
welcome.
I can really tell that you have done a lot of self-healing just to be able to share that.
Yeah,
That's a lot. That's a lot.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it is. It
And
is.
it's a
And
lot.
as I
Trust me,
tell
I know.
people, right, right. As I
Yeah.
tell people, it's worth it, right? As you know, it's worth the journey. It's a lot. And I believe we're on a journey as long as we have air in our lungs. But it's definitely worth it to be stand here and be the woman that I am today. It was worth it.
Beautiful. I love that. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. And one thing that you do that I love, why I wanted to bring you on to Trauma Talks and talk with you about, is journaling to heal trauma. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I love
Absolutely.
journaling. Journaling is such a great way to get to know yourself. And
Mm.
actually, journaling is one way that you can communicate with your subconscious mind. So, as a
Mhm.
hypnotherapist, I'm always interested in all these ways to communicate with the subconscious. So
Mhm.
that's why I invited you on today to just talk a little bit for anyone who's listening. How can they journal to heal their trauma?
So I would start with just journaling. I have sometimes talked to clients who are like, I want to journal, but I don't know how. I want to journal, but I feel weird or I don't know what to say. So the first thing that I just say is start. Like just start journaling, get a pen and paper and
Mhm.
just start writing. Even if you're writing, I don't know what I want to talk about. I don't know why I'm doing this. As you continue, the words will come. There's a quote, and I don't remember who it's from, but I remember reading it and it just made sense to me. It said, I write because I don't know what I'm thinking until I read what I write.
Oh, that makes, oh, yes. So many times I've read back over my journal entry and just,
Right. You're like,
yeah.
that's it, or there it
Yeah.
is. And it comes from, like you said, the subconscious, like once we get into it, it's interesting. You connected it with
Hypnotherapy. I'm a
hypnotherapy.
hypnotherapist. That's what I do.
Right. My girlfriend calls it hypnotic journaling is what she calls it, is when she,
Yes,
yep, when
that's a
she,
technique.
oh, okay. I didn't know that
Yes.
that was a technique. I just know she's like, I go sit by the water and I do hypnotic journaling. And she's, she just connects with spirit and allows herself to write and has that. But yeah, so I would say to one, just kind of start. The
Yeah.
other thing I believe wholeheartedly is that when we ask the questions, the answers appear. And so a lot of times I will do journaling about like hey, I'm feeling crappy today, not sure what's going on. And as I begin writing, answers come, what I need to do comes, clarity comes. So part of what you reached out for was you saw the flyer for the healing, getting myself free,
Yeah.
healing through journaling. And a lot of what we did was we uncovered some of the like inner child experiences. So we did a lot of like writing prompts about what are some of the first memories that we have, because a lot of who we are today as individuals is definitely connected to our upbringing, our
Oh,
conditioning,
yes.
our familiar relationships, right? And so we journaled about like, so what's our first childhood memory? What was that like? How did that feel? Who was I and my family of origin? What did I wish I had more of? What do I wish I had less of? To really get to the point of uncovering the authentic self. Another thing that's huge for me is that we go through the identity. So when I'm helping people to unlock their authentic self, we also, again, go back to what I said, figuring out who I'm not. So what was the identity? What was the mask? What was the role that we put on as children to help us cope that's now not serving us anymore. So some, it's the party person, the person who's like the life of the
Yeah,
party.
always joking, the joker.
Exactly.
The
And then some,
baby. That's another one, always a baby.
there you go. Yes,
Yeah,
the victim. And
yeah,
so I go through a lot of these archetypes with my clients in the journaling. And then we kind of journal about like, which one do I identify with and why? What are some areas that I've played out this role, played out this identity? And then what about it does not feel good? And that gives us insight into the authentic self. So it's just like week after week, session after session, we just kind of spend time uncovering it. And then I also leave place for safe conversation. Because, like you and I were talking about, and that's why I'm so grateful for the Trauma Freedom Tribe that you have, is we need community. We
yes,
need a
yes,
safe space to be able to process with people who understand, who
yes.
get it, a non-judgmental space. And so even after we do some of the journaling, we take some time and talk about it. What came up for you? Because sometimes unpleasant memories come up. So we just
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
need to process and listen and support. Even in addition to journaling, because journaling is great for the solo projects, but sometimes we need to hold that space for one another.
Oh, absolutely. I agree totally with bringing the community together. That's a big reason why I started the Trauma Freedom Tribe, to have a safe place, supportive, where you can ask for support and just talk with other people that get you.
Yes. Yes.
Really, it is so healing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
I love that you're mentioning, both aspects of it, because trauma is a so I'm trauma, no, journaling, sorry.
Mhm.
Journaling is really deep and a solo activity, and you can really go deep. And I love that you add the connection aspect to it, where then you discuss it and you talk about it, because even though you've learned a lot more about yourself through the journaling,
Mhm.
there's still parts that need to be healed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then what do you do with that, right?
Right.
And it's no pressure. So if someone wants to share, they can. If they don't want to share, I know journaling is also another exercise that I give my coaching clients. A lot of times they'll have like journaling exercises and bring them back in between sessions. And I really gained a passion for journaling as a child, because my mother introduced me to it when I was very young. And my mother struggled with a lot of mental health and again substance abuse. And she said that she used to hold everything in, and it caused her body to get sick. She's like, I had ulcers, I had migraines,
Wow.
she had panic attacks.
Yep.
And I was like in elementary or middle school when she was, introducing this to me. And she's like, I don't want that for you. And so she's like, here, I won't read it, write whatever you want to write, do whatever and handed me my journal, and I began journaling. And I honestly think that journaling got me through some of the hard trauma that I experienced in life, just being able to have. And my mom was also phenomenal. She was a safe space when she was available, but to
That's
be,
wonderful. Yeah.
yeah, she was, to be able to just be able to process it and kind of get it out and be able to understand.
I love that. I love that. And I would like to invite you, if anyone in the Trauma Freedom Tribe is interested in a journal through the Trauma Freedom Tribe, if you would like to, Kamesha, maybe you can create a post in the
Mm,
next few days or so of some journaling prompts.
I would love to. Hmm.
And then members of the tribe, you can journal. And then in a week or maybe in 2 weeks, we'll have a live where we can come together and talk about our journaling. Would you like to do that?
I love that idea.
That's
I
great.
love
Let's
it.
do it.
Let's do it. I love it. I love it.
I love that too.
Yeah.
It'll be so great. And anybody watching, we've got Marilyn right now and Melanie. Hello, hello, both of you. Maybe you'd be
Hello.
interested in joining our journaling group. Melanie says, for her, it was over giving.
Mm,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can relate with that. the energy
Mhm.
going to my sons, to my husband, to my family, to, to all everything else, and putting myself last if there was anything left over.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. And I think again, back to some of the conditioning, is some of what we were taught, right? Especially as
Yeah.
women, like,
Yeah.
oh, that caretaker is we were
Mhm.
talking about identities, right? Like that caretaker, that superwoman,
Yeah.
is taught to you. Take care of but we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves and we're given from our overflow.
Yes.
But I definitely can identify with the overgiving.
Yes. So
Mhm.
can I. So can I. Yeah, absolutely. And that's what self-care is all about. It's just taking care of yourself a priority.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's crucial
Absolutely.
for any healing, physical, mind, body, spiritual, trauma healing, any healing. We have
Yes.
to do that, is put ourselves as a priority.
And I think even with that, with the overgiving, and we stay with the theme of journaling, is really taking some time to journal to ask why. What was it?
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we beat ourselves up about choices that we've made. I know I have, right? Beat myself up. But once I start the process, I realized that really I was just trying to get a need met. There was some need out there I was attempting to get met,
Mhm.
and that is human. We were designed to survive, and it's survival instinct. But asking, I'm huge again. I believe that if you ask the question, the answer appears. So asking, what was I afraid of? What need was I attempting to get met with this overgiving? And so once we have that information, we can start working on meeting that need, or even start the deep breathing, talking to ourselves. I am safe. I am accepted.
Yeah,
A lot of times it's about we don't want to be abandoned. We don't want to be rejected. We feel like if we say
absolutely.
no,
Yes.
if I say no, are they still going to like me? Are they still going to want me? Am I enough? And then
Mhm.
have that information to be able to build on that. Like, well, I am enough. And the people
Mhm.
who belong in my life will accept my yeses and my nos. And as we start
Right.
practicing it, we see that it's true, but we got to get to the root of what was I afraid of? Why did
Yeah.
I give so much of myself? And for me, again, for me, it was about the abandonment. I was so
Yeah.
afraid that if I said no, that I was going to be abandoned because I didn't think Kamesha was good enough. Because if she was good enough, why did her parents use drugs? Why didn't her parents choose her? All of these childhood thoughts that I had to come and change.
Absolutely. That's deep inner child work. Life changing. Life
Yes,
changing.
yes.
That's one thing we do in hypnotherapy. We go inside, we meet the inner child,
Mm,
and we actually talk to her, and we create a relationship with her, and we nurture her. And
mm,
as the current healthy adult now, we
mhm,
provide our little inner child with all those things that she needed that she didn't get. And
mm.
it is so empowering, so
That's
life
great
changing,
work. I'm sure. Yes,
so
absolutely.
empowering, so empowering. So we just have a couple minutes left. One last question. We both help people improve their relationship with themselves.
Mhm.
So let's end on that note. What does it do for someone as they go along the path of healing their relationship with their self?
I believe it opens the door to really living life. Like, really, because before then, I can say for myself, everything was about survival.
Yeah.
Um, I remember um, being I remember being in church and people would be like, "Oh, I thank God for another day." And I remember thinking, why? Like, why? I was taught about this great place called heaven and all of these things. And I'm like, well, if heaven is amazing, then why do I want to be here? Because everything was about survival. But when I began the healing journey, I can honestly say, like, I'm grateful for another day. I can honestly say that like I feel like life is just that it's just sweeter. Like I feel like the colors are brighter. Like I know it sounds so
Love it.
cliche, but
Yeah.
that is what it does. It improves relationships. Like my relationships with my kids have improved. My relationships, like as you know, my son just got married last Wednesday, and
Right.
you know,
Congratulations.
thank you. There were some bumps, even with
Sure.
his fiance at one point and their relationship. But as I was able to learn to love myself, I could see the area things that I was projecting onto her and to him. And it just, it has improved. I believe every area of my life, it's improved my confidence. To be able to launch my business and support people and help people and um trust myself, that is a big part. Like it's so
Yeah.
hard to do anything when we can't trust ourselves. So to me, self-love, it's all of it.
Yeah.
It's all
I
of it.
love that answer. Absolutely love it. Yeah, absolutely. Going from just struggling to survive to really living, enjoying life.
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I absolutely. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Kamesha. Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. And really looking forward to seeing those, that whatever you create with that post, those prompts, and us doing a little kind of like a little journaling club.
No,
It'll be
I look
really
forward
fun.
to it.
Me
I,
too.
I love to
Really
talk
fun.
about, I love to connect with people, so I definitely look forward to it.
Absolutely. Me too. And if anyone in the tribe, feel free to connect with Kamesha. You can find her here in the tribe, or you can just find her profile on Facebook, Kamesha Tarell. Thank you so much, Kamesha. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too. Thank you.
Bye for
Bye, everybody.